Welcome back, my friends, to the show that never ends.
Welcome back to The Drunk Linux User. I am Len. I am The Drunk Linux User. Today is going to be a short video in comparison to the others. I'm sure that'll throw a lot of people out there. But I wanted to say a couple things, and one of them was, first of all, I'm having a grateful day today. I'm grateful that I woke up, that I drank some good coffee, I ate a terrific lunch, and my summer cold is effectively over, so it's a good day. Just going to touch on a few things. But one of the things that people will ask me outside of these videos, when I start talking about Linux, if I'm asked, is why am I or other Linux people seemingly so rabid about using Linux? And I think a lot of it has to do with the fact that it's a choice. Nobody foisted this on us. Nobody told us that we had to have it. We decided that what was out there in the mainstream wasn't exactly what we wanted or needed. And so we looked into something different. Now, Linux isn't the only alternative that's out there, by the way. There is something called BSD, Berkeley Software, something or another, out in California. And there are other types of systems out there as well. There's a new release of something called Haiku, which is sort of like it was BE, so the BOS is what it used to be called. And that was a potential contender for Apple as a desktop environment for Apple before they switched from, I believe it was OS 9 to OS 10. So that's coming along nicely. It's taking some time. These people don't have like tons of money. So, and they also have day jobs, a lot of them. So what they do is they work on this when they can. Most of the software that I've been showing you has been developed by people who have spent their own private personal time, or have had other developers helping them using their personal times to create these wonderful and amazing pieces of software and operating systems. So it's just a lot of it has to do with freedom, and everybody has their own choices and their own reasonings to use what they're using. For example, if you're using Windows because you like Windows, that's awesome. Same thing with Mac. And if these platforms give you exactly what you need and want, and you're happy with everything that it can do, that's a winner right there, isn't it? So you found it, you like it, maybe you're passionate about it. Okay, well, you can kind of understand that myself and others that have gone off the mainstream track have taken a look at Linux and different versions of Linux and decided this is our home. This is where we want to be. So it used to be that Linux was not so easy to use. That is true. Now it's just as easy as anything else out there. You can do some things using a terminal command line interface to kind of speed things up a little bit, or you can just use the software that's on your system and basically accomplish the same things. It's just whatever you're comfortable with and whatever you like. I'm a little bit nerdy when it comes to computers. Ever since I got my hands on one, I've always been trying to figure out what can I do with this thing? How can I make it look better, run better? How far can I go with the hardware that's been baked into the systems? So Linux is kind of a natural for me. I finally found something that was like, okay, well, this is a lot bigger than me, and yet it can still do everything I want to do really, really easily. So I like that. So again, it's just about choices, and nobody should be persuaded to use anything based on what somebody says. I'm not here to say you have to be on Linux or you're a fool. I would never do anything like that. Not to your face anyway. I'm just kidding. But, it's people like me are here to give you information. We're not supposed to be, I'm not getting paid by anybody to do this. Right now, not even donations. So this is all from the heart. This is all just trying to pass along some information and have some fun at the same time. If you're interested in Linux, then I'll be happy to help you. If you're interested in Mac and in Windows, well, you might want to Google for somebody else because I'm not your guy there. One of the things that one of the other things I wanted to talk about today is one of the Linux distributions came out with their latest greatest. It's called Elementary OS, which you're seeing on the screen right now. I'm very happy for them. I'm very glad that they were able to get this one out. This took them a long time to put together, and a lot of people have been looking forward to it. They've made a lot of improvements to the system, so it should be running faster. It should be the workflows are supposed to be better on this, so good for them. This isn't a rant. This is just my personal observation and my personal preferences. But what they have done with their graphical user interface, their GUI, which is called Pantheon, is they've made it look just like everything else. It is based off from Ubuntu. They've just tweaked it the way that they've wanted it to, but it looks like Adwaita to me, which is the default theme for GNOME 3 and 4. It's flat. Everybody has to go flat, apparently. They call it modern. Well, let me talk to you about modern, okay? Modern. Well, Apple is flat. It's, I guess, modern. I guess when people got their cell phones and everything was basically flat on Android, they thought, oh, well, hey, we don't have to worry too much about putting any effort into making this look slick and wonderful. Let's just make it all flat. Windows did the same thing. Do you remember how beautiful Windows 7 was? Oh, hell, even Windows 98 looks better than this. But it's flat, it's modern. I guess it's supposed to be great. Well, let me explain something about modern. Back in the 1990s, Apple came up with something called System 7. Damn if that ain't flat. So I guess Apple, back in the day, was way ahead of its time. Later, they came out with something that looked a little bit more three-dimensional like, similar to what I'm using right now. And they've gone back to flat. All right, well, I happen to like the more depth and three-dimensionality to my operating systems, and that's why I chose what I did. I'm using the Unity desktop, using the ambience theme that comes with it. It has a little bit of 3D to it. It makes it easier for me, for example, if I wanted to pop open a window. And you can kind of see that there is a definite difference between this window and that window. Whereas in a lot of other operating systems or a lot of other user interfaces, your header bars get lost in the other ones because they're the same color. They're all flat. There's no dimensionality to them. That's a word I'm going to have to work on, huh? So I like this a little bit better. And even some of the things here used to be a little bit more rounded, but hey, I'll take it. This works. So anyway, good for elementary OS. I am really, really glad that they have been able to accomplish what they set out to do. And I have read a lot of people on the message boards already saying how thrilled they are with the changes, how flat everything seems to be, but more importantly, of course, you've got the system improvements, and it is a good distribution. It really, truly is. So if you're looking for something that's kind of like a Mac, it's kind of like Linux, it's somewhere in between, check out Elementary OS. It's absolutely good and solid. There are some restrictions that you're going to find on here. It's going to operate just a little bit differently than other Linux distributions. But see, that's kind of what happens, is that all the developers for all these different distributions, they like to make their own rules. So sometimes it's because they've listened to their audience, and their audience has said, we want X, Y, and Z, and the developer goes, hey, that's a pretty good idea. And sometimes they'll take an idea and they'll even run further with it. So it's just different. That's all it is, just different. You won't be disappointed if you use this. It's very, very stable, Elementary OS. So yeah, if you're curious, go to elementary.io. I'll put the link in the description. I just really think it's funny that everybody thinks flat is modern. I guess what is old is new again, huh? Well, I said, and I promised, and I'm going to keep this promise, that this was going to be a much shorter video than the previous iterations of the Drunk Linux User. I just thought I'd pop in today with a little commentary about Elementary, and apparently the flat shape of things that I honestly thought that flat was going to be a fad and go away, and maybe it will. I don't know. Also, you'll see that there are a lot of people that are really big on dark themes for their operating systems. Mac does it, Windows does it, Linux has it all over the place as well. I can see to some extent where it's kind of easier on the eyes, as far as it's not so much bright light shining at you. I guess I'm old school. Maybe too much so, but I find reading white letters on darkened windows and screens a little bit more difficult to distinguish, and so I tend to maybe squint a little bit more at that. But if I'm reading dark text on a white background, for me it's like reading a book. It's easier. So, get out of there. I want to thank you for stopping by and putting up with me one more time. And I'm still trying to figure out what I want to do about the next show, but I think we'll have some fun regardless. In the meantime, I don't have anything. Wow, there's a first. Saved by the bell. Bottoms up. This is the Drunk Linux User. Later, dudes.